Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw at a very specific... Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in the pictures taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Grant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal that actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Drake and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying that the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I've finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away a man who was holding the knife. In that next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent that jar flying? That would have to be the impact of the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked back in the armor carrying the broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall wielding the prosecutor's award. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking... Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the proprietor would have no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorized, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming that the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh no. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Did she just pass out? I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Objection! What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances... Joe Drake murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. And the reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out that was Emma didn't. I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, you have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has to all have been wild. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind a name of the person who took his life somehow. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, a message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murders... Yep, it does exist, unfortunately. The message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister is a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing that we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys the message of the deceased. The message left by the deceased. This is the Blue Badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgetting that this is just a jar. The message was left here, on the surface of the jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on the jar. It looks like someone wiped away the blood. Yes, but notice, for some reason, there is blood on fragments not wiped away. Yes, there's a line there here drawn. So what are you saying? Is these dots were once lines? Prosecutor Neil Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that happens apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines change directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal the true answer. I've got to connect these dots on the right. The murderer's name is... It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client innocent. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message of Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have been mentored, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. I'm not so sure about that, actually. I know they just proved it, but... Seaworthy can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implication of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Drake was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Ack! Yes, Worthy, because of you. The innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Drake really was a serial murderer. That is undeniable. I'm afraid that's not the important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. That's stupid as hell, 'cause... What's going on in the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 Damn it. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears, unable to Settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. And I guess I'll finish it off Saturday, unless I forget to record tomorrow. Alright, so we're gonna stop for today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!